can see your screen.
Good evening, everyone. We are group number 3. Our group started with 9 people, but at the project we finalized with 3 of us. This project made it by Lisa, Pranav, and me. Also, when we decided to make a topic for this project, we had a lot of research, and we had a lot of ideas. Also, first idea, it was linked. We start to do testing. We start to work with NetBean, and then linked block us. Also, their cybersecurity system worked really good, and they block all our IP addresses. And after that, we changed the topic. Then we decided between the Shamrock Marketplace and Macy's, and we stopped at the Macy's because we saw like little bit more different information where we can do research about the history of the company. Also, Macy's store, they are located in 45 states in the United States. They sell products for all different segments. It's a men's, children's, women's clothes, some stuff for the homes. They're on the market over 100 years. They've been changing their logo for a couple different times. They start create their logo in 2020 and finalize in 2019. All of us, we know the presentation of the Thanksgiving parade and fireworks for 4th of July. And it's a great company, but right now they're going to have more stores, more products online. And they currently like close little bit stores, but still they're in a business. Yes, sir?
Okay, you can see here the tools we use for the project. We use the Jira, Catalan, Selenium, WebDriver, TestNG, GitHub, Jenkins, Zoom. We spent a lot of time on a Zoom, very a lot. WhatsApp for communication and Google for researching. When we choose what to test it in the Macy's, for our web epic, we choose shopping cart, add items, category, search items, and store location. In the backlog, we wrote it down, we divided our work in 2 sprints. The sprint lasts for 2 weeks each. First sprint, we tested shopping cart, also add items to the cart, and test different category. For second sprint, we test store located and search items.
To continue our work, we start working on Jira. And here you can see our backlog and roadmap. We divided all our job in 2 sprints, as Lisa said. And then it was easy for us to do our job like step by step to continue work on our project. And on the next slide, you can see diagrams. At the first one, you can see how our work was going. Like couple last days, we've been like crazy. Like this diagram actually like for last 5 days only. But you can see, and even on February 9th, we've been working a lot on our project. And at the bottom, you can see a donut diagram where you can see that we split all tasks between us. Also, like everyone was invited to work in this project a lot. On next slide, you can see use case diagram where we showed how customer can do use the Macy's website. Also, they can search items, they can add to the cart, they can do checkout and process the purchase. And separately, there is a button for customer registration. Also, on the left side of the diagram, you can see web customer who divided to register customer and new customer. Both of them, they have a same access to all same information. Just register customer have some updates with new items or product what they are interested more.
Okay, here you can see the automation test lifecycle. In the first one, you can see the scope test of automation. The second is selection of automation tools we use. 3, test the plan, like I said before, what we were about to test. Number 4, test environment setup. 5, test script and execution. And number 6, test results and reports. Okay, you can see on this slide the use and test cases for category. We tested women, men, and children categories. And you can see everything went well, everything was passed. In this slide, the test category in test NG, we also tested, everything went good. In this one, we test the location. We had the use cases, test cases also pass, and test NG pass as well.
Okay, next one, we start working on the search button. Of course, we created use and test cases. Then you can see the picture of screenshot of NetBeans and the test run well. And we will show you the test as well at the continuing our presentation. After search bot, we start working on full up. That's it. After we start working at the full up form with the Excel file. Also, we practice a lot with this one, but everything ran well, and not been so green lights for us. And after that, we continue our project in GitHub. Also, we create repository. We attach all our tests to the GitHub. You can see at the bottom how many tests we been done. After we finish with the GitHub, we continue our work with Jenkins. And here we practice a lot. We learn a lot from Jenkins. We can when we're gonna continue our project, you're gonna know how many plugins we installed, how how we work with that. But Jenkins give us a lot of time to work on. Also, Lisa?
Okay, so in this slide, you can see our Jenkins workspace. Here's our all tests that we were testing. We're gonna skip this for now. Here's our test NG report. Like you see, we have different issues. Our main issue was that the test was running well in the NetBean, but when we transferred to the Jenkins, it was failing for some reason. We were working on that, but still we still had an issue. In this slide, you can see we're trying to download the Allure plugin. This plugin will show you very nice reports of the test. So we installed and did it everything. Unfortunately, for some reason, it's not generate the reports like it's supposed to be. But we install a Jacoco coverage report plugin. It's very nice report. It's showing the exactly how much it covers and what was covered in the test. On the top one, you can see this plugin, just basically custom one. It's gonna show you how much tests fail or run without going into the project. This one, we edit email. So to edit email notification, you need to go to configure system. You just need to put smtp.gmail. That's the specific ID for the Gmail. Then you can put your email address and password and use CCL. The code port needs to be 465. And after that, you just test configuration, send in the email, and everything should work. When the test will be built fail, you should receive the email notification. And on this part, the Pranav will take care of the rest, and he's going to explain how does everything work. Pranav?
Yeah, so can I get the control of the screen?
You're presented, Pranav.
Yeah, let me see. It says connecting, but Okay, yeah. So here is my screen, and I have two tests open here. One is search test for Macy's search, and another is the form filling, which didn't work out in any of the sites. So I figured out the another thing, which was I have ready and I had an HTML page ready, which I used to fill out the form with NetBeans automatically, and it was successfully done. So I will run this test, and we will see that it is searching for men's shoes, and it is how it is going well or not. So it is doing the full screen, and then men's shoes is typed over there, and it is showing the men's shoes, and it is verifying the text. And one test is finished, and test result is 100% pass. So one test is this, and another is form filling itself, and then it will show up. This is my local file, not online, because online not any store allowed us to do that, so I have to do it locally. But still it was passing. So we figured out the things that how Excel file to NetBean to form is working. So it is filling out the form. We can see that I paused it for 3 seconds and it submit, but there is no link, so it will not show up anything, and now it is closed. So it is passing 100%. So that two tests we have passed, but most of other tests are, I was in my laptop, it was failing, but in Lesia's laptop, it was passing. So she put her slides, and some of them I put my slides, and that's how we completed our project. But we had so many good things to share, like Alina and Lesia shared us, like we have so many hours of Zoom meetings, like crazy every day. And so many like learning things, new things, Jenkins and stuff. But still, it went well. We learned a lot. Thank you.
No, thank you. So Pranav, like when you're going through this journey, sometimes you might be frustrated, right? Hey, man, it's not working. Why it's not working, right? So
Right.
how did you keep going, right? Even though you've saw a lot of failure
So
and challenges.
when one person was stopped for with something like not working, we are all in Zoom meeting,
Mhm.
and everybody was giving their input. Do this, do this, do this, try this, and we were figuring out the stuffs.
No, that's a good team spirit and good teamwork as well. So
Right.
in the whole project, what is like a kind of wow moment for you, and maybe each one of you can share. What was the wow moment?
So for me, I would say this form test was wow moment, and another wow moment for me was Lesia's Jenkins reports was working well, and another for me was Alina's Jira reports were working well.
Very good.
For me, it was when the Pranav did this form, it was surprising. I know how much time he spent for that. Also, like there was moment good and bad, but mostly when yesterday we had everything done and presentation slides was almost ready, that was the most wow, I could say. And the
Yeah,
team, of course, only three of us left. That's wow.
right.
Yeah, we've been like so excited and so proud of us when all tests start running well. We have green lights. It gave us more power and more enthusiasm to keep working.
Mhm.
To like, we've been excited a lot about Allure plugin, but unfortunately, in some reason, I don't know, like we need more time to find out how to work that. But we didn't stop.
Mhm.
We found another plugin, would install it to the laptop and continue our work. Also, it was really good to work in this team, whereas everyone to continue to do brainstorming and to find out a decision to any issues what we had at this project.
Very nice. So one more question, like let's example, I'm a newcomer joining a QA combo course. What advice would you give? Because knowing the Capstone project is the last project in their training career plan, what advice would you give to me?
manage your time more, read more, because our main problem was we didn't recognize how much time we will need for Jenkins and plugins. We were thinking, oh, it's going to be easy. We just download plugins and that's it. But no, for everything, adding email, any plugins, it takes time. You need to go to the system. It's a long time to figure out. That's what is the main issue for us.
Very good.
And don't be hesitate if you have some issue and just stop work in your team and just skip it. Just keep working. If you don't know something, maybe your team members gonna teach you. They're gonna show you and explain you some parts what you missed even in the class. Also, don't skip it. Just keep working.
Yeah, don't give up.
Don't give up ever.
Absolutely. Now, this is like fantastic. Trust me, when you work in a real field, this is going to be like this, right? It's in real field, you have a little bit more time, but the challenge will be also very high, right? It's not going to be simple. It will be a challenging. Like sometimes you might be alone, right? You are completely alone and you have to do all these things. Trust me, I have seen that, and I also saw when students start as an internship, right? You are alone, but that is the difficult moment where your team members will be your go-to guy, right? It doesn't need to be the people who are working with you in a team or in a company. You can reach out to anyone who you know. So building your network will be a plus point. Having a good team members will be a plus point. Anytime you can reach out. They may not be instantly providing help, but whenever you need, they may provide pointers. So it's very important that you leverage your team member. But good job, guys. I know all three of you are kind of brand new in this kind of career path, but at the end of the day, you've done quite a good work. Keep going, and add more as you go further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome to our project. I hope you were not hungry because we have a lot of yummy stuff in here. We decided to test the Domino's web site. So this project was created by Masvit, Aliyah, and Samia. There was also bigger group at the beginning. Again, we also there's the three of us. So we decided to go with the Domino, like a company that starts in 1960 in a small town in Wisconsin with just one store, and was keep growing and growing, and now it has more than 19,000 stores all over the world. It's a company that likes innovations, like to introduce new innovations and technologies that make a big impact in this industry. So for our project, we choose two features to be tested: the menu and the login functionality. This was our team schedule. We start with brainstorming and planning. What do we want to do? What do we want to test with the scope of the project, with the test environments and everything. Again, at the beginning of the journey, we start with different websites, with different companies, and also have a lot of issues with blocking, with things that we wasn't ready to handle. And I think this, the Domino is, I don't know, Mahaswita, you correct me if I'm wrong, it might be fourth or fifth website that we stopped finally.
Fourth or fifth, you're right. Yeah, we tried many.
Yes, and we keep on working for the first and second week on otherwise. So
yeah, the
practically
first
this
one
project,
was like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
This project was mostly due in the last few weeks, to be honest. So going forward, we go with the preparation of our PowerPoint test, working on the code test cases, and in the last week we work on Jenkins and reports. These are the tools we used for automate our project, and this is kind of the way we use it. This is our menu test scenarios and the use case and the test case. They're like the manual parts that we did. The menu and the specialty pizzas page. Mostly things that we did. We have 4 test cases in here. This is the automated menu test. As you can see, the test 100% passed. The next one is the login text. Again, we have the manual part. In this scenario, I decide to try jerking language. Just for practice, mostly because this is like a new way, let's say like this, and it is a very interesting way of stating the steps. This is the 5th, 6th, 7th. Here for the login test, we have 7 test cases. We start with the login with the correct logout, and then we do correct email, incorrect password, incorrect email, correct password, incorrect. We do empty. We did, and the 7th one is correct, but instead of clicking sign in for this order button, we click keep me sign in. There were two buttons for the login. So here we tested the second one. All the data we used was stored in Excel file. Because for this is automation login test, we for this one we decide to use page object, and we did like the login test we did in a page object. I will give to Mahaswita from here. She will take over from here from the slides. Mahaswita?
Yes, thank you, Leah. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. So we try to incorporate this 3-tier architecture in our project. I just want to go over with it. So when user anytime opens up the website, they go through the web page. They see the screen and they send it to the front end. Then responsibility of the front end is to collect the data from the user and hand it to the back end. This is they do it with the help of the internet, and the internet can be local or web-based. Then the form from here, the data is used to go into, they can use the application server, and then it can go to the database for the storage purpose. So that's how we did it. And I will show you the screen, how we did. I will explain the Jenkins reports too. So as far as we did the project from the NetBeans, and then we transfer it to the GitHub. And from the GitHub, we brought it into the Jenkins. In the Jenkins, we created the TestNG reports, and we found applied many plugins. Let me share my screen and I'll show you the work. And then we'll go back to the slides again.
Okay.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is our project right here, Domino's page object. And we have, like Leah said, we created the page object concept. So for the sign in part. And for this one, we stored the passwords and username, different possibility in the Excel page. From Excel page, we pull it into the file utility. And from there, we got it into the sign-in page, and then it goes through the sign-in test. So we combine two technologies together, and we, like she explained, we tested them for 7 different scenarios with the correct username and correct password, correct username, incorrect password, incorrect username, and correct password, vice versa. All of the 7 possibilities we did. So I'll run it and show you how it goes. So that's how it goes. There is one more possibility that we can test it, which is keep it empty for 3 times, and that will block my account. But this one we practicing many times, and I did not. It did already block me 1 or 2 times, and I had to recreate the password. So I didn't want to go through that one all the time we run the test. That's why I removed that part. So this one is for the sign in. So for that one, we did a page update. And for the menu, we did a great job. This one was done by Leah. She did it from one button and all the way from the starting from the first button and all the way to the checkout. So instead of like doing small thing, small lines and tests for each button, this is the whole from the start to the end. So I'll run this one too, which is very complicated because if one thing fails, then rest of the things fail, but everything was depending on each other. So this is why we did this one. Oops, sorry. 1 second. Problem line. 1 second. Okay, I'll move on to the next thing because it did. I'll try one more time. The problem we found in this one page, they changing the XPath sometimes. So that makes it challenging, and that can be the problem. Okay, now it's fine. Okay, so these 2 tests we did, this is the longer one. Okay, next thing I'll show you my Jenkins part. So here is the Jenkins. Just like other group was saying, we also had practiced so many different versions. So many times we did it, but finally, here we go. So these are our builds. We were able to create the test ng report. Everything passed. And we also did a plugin for the email, also for the Jira. So when there is anything, any stories or needs to be, updated, it gives the update to the person that this thing needs to be updated. Might take a couple minutes.
So while it is building, Mash, with that
Yes.
question, Did you
Yes.
use like a headless browser, or you just use normal browser?
No, I did use only normal. You send us the link for the headless, but I was not sure, and we time was so limited. So like we spent so much time in the past, so only to. So I wasn't sure where to put that one. I'll Google, but I did not like have time to go into very detail to
No,
figure out.
if it is working for you, you don't need to. But if you saw the Google class, I highlighted only four
Yeah,
links. Instead of
yeah.
like a new Chrome driver, you just pass parameters, and that parameter is headless. The reason, if you keep running this test, it will take memory. So every time
Okay.
it will open Google Chrome, right?
Yeah.
So if you run 20 plus time, then your Jenkins will hang.
I see. So
And
where do I put that code in the net bin?
yeah, in it wherever you
I
are.
tried that and it was giving me errors. So that's why I say, I did not have. So this is my output. It will say, these are the tests we did. All tests pass, build success. Then Jira is updating issue DOM, the one that, let me see where it is. There you go. So this will give us the 44 seconds ago, it gave us the notification that there is some kind of update here in the Jira. So that's how we know it's working. And then it sends the report email whenever we build. It sends the email to the email addresses. And test ng report is successfully processed.
Very nice. Very nice.
And let me show you one more thing here, the test ng report. I also did a plugin for the, what you call, role-based something like that, but just did not have time for the finalization. So this is how we see the report here, that everything passed.
Good, good. For Jira, what did you configure? How did you, make the Jira plugin working for Jira stories and all?
Oh, Jira plugin.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Right. Right here. I went through the Google and I watched lots of different video and times two, three different things, and then I did.
But how does it know like which issue to update?
Oh, I have to put it in the configuration right here.
Okay.
Explicit selector and whichever issue I wanted to update, and that's how you.
Makes sense.
Or wrong, you can tell me the advice. I've just followed the Google slide video.
No problem. No, there are some plugin available which is based on particular test case failing. It will update the necessary stories. But this is good. I'm glad you did it. So, what is the most challenging part?
This Jenkins part, I think I wanted to have more time practicing Jenkins. That's the hardest part for me. The NetBeans part, I'm so confident about the NetBeans part, but this one is kind of complicated.
Yeah, good news, in a real life, Jenkins will be configured by DevOps person. So you don't have to do. That's why we kind of cover late, because ideally you just need to know how pipeline works. You just need to know how to build it, how to debug. So you know how to run this and debug. That's pretty much it. But otherwise, setting up plugin and everything, DevOps person will take care.
Okay. Two things, two Saturdays I spent. One Saturday I spent whole to figure out the reCAPTCHA part because everything was going good, but reCAPTCHA I was not able. Then finally I sent you email and you advised to change the website. And then the second thing, when I was transferring the things from GitHub, from NetBeans, GitHub and to the Jenkins, the test cases name were not, I put it some kind of fancy name here instead of test here. And then everything was passing except the test cases. But it was not showing me the the right report that I wanted to see. And all of a sudden, your words came in my mind that write it this way. So after 7 hours, it clicked in my mind, and I fixed it, and magic happened.
Yeah, I many times mention people spend like days. I remember like one of my students spent like 2 days, and I say, "Oh, TEST test." I always mention
Yeah,
if you remember.
yeah.
And
So thank you so much for
Lasha will
teaching
be
us.
Lasha will be laughing too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
it was a good journey learning.
no, I like that. Here I saw you use a 76 line thread.sleep. What was the reason you used that line with rather than explicit wait?
Just because we were so tired. So that was the lazy way to do it. But we use here is the explicit way we have it. But just
So
sometimes
yeah, so Leah and you, can you tell me what are the tips I should follow as a newcomer if I'm joining as a QA combo course?
do the
I would like first to mention the challenge I had with the test case. This website is like whenever you click, there is a pop-up appearing. So that's why we have so much of the explicit weight in here. And yeah, instead of the thread that sleep, it should be actually another explicit weight, but. And you click on something first that appears pop-up, and then you have to handle it, and then go over, click on something, and the next one is a pop-up again. So this was like a little bit challenging for me. What can I advise you?
advice for me, I would say give me more. I would like to learn more about but you already covered that Jenkins thing. Will be DevOps person will be doing that.
Only
So
DevOps person does Jenkins.
yeah.
You will be most likely running the job and maybe debugging in the sense of going to console. If your test fail, you should know about it, right? Why your test failed.
Yeah.
DevOps people will set it up pipeline for you.
And one more question, I would know if there was one website we worked really good, at least 1.5 week was target, and we had 3 different things, but one button, search button, they were changing the XPath sometime 2 times a day. They will change the whole name. So every time we run a test, it fail. Every time we run a test. So
There are ways you can search and see. First of all those XPath which I think I can see on your screen, these are called explicit XPath. Most of XPath, when you have longer than, like example, you said div selection, div, those most likely gonna fail. Okay, but if you go to your page object where you created page object, go to your file. So any of page object, what do you page
this one.
page, higher. So rather than giving explicit path, you need to use a appropriate XPath. Like example, you can say anywhere the search button is there, show me. So rather you're hard coding XPath, it will not work. So you should be creative. You say anywhere like slash, right? Star, and then contains search button like that. So it will work. See,
Acha.
you have to find a creative. If you write explicit like a hard longer XPath, these are prone to error. It will
I see.
not work all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
But overall, great work, guys. I know it's a limited time, but I honestly give you 4 weeks, right? But as we go further and further, right? Sometimes your learning will also evolve, right? So it's absolutely clear that learning is require a little bit extra time. So as I always said, like even you have completed the project, you presented the project, but you feel like you can do the work. Take yourself as a hobby project. I want to do test myself and then get going. But you have to build the muscles. The reason it is tomorrow when you go in interview, people will ask you the story. And that story, I would encourage you all have to have story. That what I have done, right? So example, if I need to tell a story in interview, right? Let's example for target. So first, like, what's your role? So you can say, hey, my role is a software quality assurance engineer, right? Or automation engineer. And what I do, so I define, test cases, and then I automate test cases using Java Selenium, and then wait for them to ask second question. So, okay, tell me more about it. So first, what I do is me and my team work in an agile team. Slowly and steadily, you explore different things, or expose, I would say. So hey, I work in an agile team. In my team, we have 7 members, where 5 developers and 2 QAs. What we do, we define the modules. So me and Leah, we define the modules, and using the module, we using the module, I write the test cases. So I'm responsible for my module, where was specially working. I was specially working on, like, you can pick like a shopping cart, or and then you can say what I did. I defined the test cases first and work with my lead QA engineer. Once they get approved, I kind of automate. But before I automate, I try to look for what are the data I can parameterize, right? And I create an Excel file. And for that, I write a util. And in your example, you mentioned about file util, but you should create a one util with the different
Yeah, with
right?
I was wondering, can
Yeah.
I use the for loop for this one?
You can create different methods, right? We discuss about it, like
Yeah,
different
yeah.
each step different method. So then you can say I defined the Excel file with various steps, and the data, my utility program was ready. You can say read form 1, read form 2, different method, and then it reads that, and those parameters I use. And then I use a page object technology, where I map each web page with the Java objects, and then page factory through the wiring happen. And then I automate that. And my goal is to make sure I have at least 90+% test coverage. I also do functional, and I also do non-functional. I also do exploratory testing. And then later on, I kind of help my team to implement CI/CD pipeline, where I will make sure my test cases work in a Jenkins. So you walk through like that. And then
Yeah.
they will naturally will ask, what kind of challenge you face? So one of the challenges most QA engineer face, everything works in a NetBeans or Eclipse, may not work in a Jenkins. The correct answer is headless, because if you go to Google Class, I'll show you in your double click on that, and wherever you're using the line number, once again, line number 51, you just need to change the 3 line. That's it. Then you remove that, and 3 lines which I added in Google Class, you put it, then it will be headless. When you are doing Jenkins, you have to use headless, otherwise it will take longer, and your test will
Yeah.
sometime work and sometime doesn't work. Then they will ask, what is the second challenge you have? So check a second challenge is the sometime test case works, sometime test case doesn't work, intermittent in nature. So then how did you address? That time hammer them. I use explicit wait. Explicit wait through I kind of define. I give a little bit longer wait period, and try to see that objects are visible. If object is visible, my test case works. And before that, I was not having explicit wait, test case was failing. They may ask, can you use thread.slip? You just say never. I never use thread.slip. Make sense? You always use explicit wait. Then they may ask about what is your locator strategy? Then you can say I use mostly ID. I work with the team, and I provide recommendation that every web element should have ID or name. If they don't have, then I define my own XPath. Then they will ask you about a little bit about XPath. Then they may ask you about, have you done any data-driven testing, or key-driven testing, or have you done database-related testing? And then rest of the things is all about high level. QA, test cases, test plan, what is the agile, what is the best practice, how you do that. And that's it. Your interview is clear. So the person who have done a project very well can easily communicate and address and influence the interviewers. So it's a very important you have a good story. So you have to practice that. Everyone has to practice. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
We will practice more.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. But greatly good job. So that completes second group sessions. Anyone has any questions? As this is the end of the class, as I mentioned before, February 17, Friday, 4 p.m. in Schaumburg, we have in-person meeting. I added those informations in your Google Class, so happy to join. I also added in WhatsApp, so make sure you join and bring your questions. Remember, if you've done so much heavy lifting, and if you fail on the first month or second month or third month, never give up.